How have you been? Has it been a good day? Okay, we're moving down. Here we go. Did you enjoy the workshops? For those who've been here before, I'm curious how those landed with you. The last two things that we did because they're new. A story building workshop. On a scale of, well, what are you going to say, right? We'll send you a survey. We're good with surveys, right? You can be honest. And the last one was kind of nice too. It was almost like speed dating for homeschoolers. That's what I felt like was going on there. We were forcing you all to get in different groups, and I like to see that the groups would split up and they wouldn't just follow each other. So that was kind of fun. But that was also very easy for us and new. We didn't have to do anything except for write some scenarios there and put them on your table. Okay, this last keynote is a little bit different than keynotes that we've had. We're not bringing in a heavy hitter, surely. Well, maybe, I guess. Kristen and Nellie here, of course. But come on up here, Kristen and Nellie. This is not Peter presenting. This is Peter and Kristen and Nellie and even Tim. I'd love Tim to be close. We're going to have you contribute if Tim's in here. Not yet. So when you see him, Nate, send Tim up here as well. And maybe even April. Is April here? Good. Yeah. Come on up here, April. So we're just going to kind of sit along this edge here. Is this okay? Can we sit? Is that all right? Is that too casual? Okay. So I want to introduce you to Nellie and to Kristen. I think you know them. You've seen Nellie because she's been on videos in the past with Power Hour back in the day when we first launched Power Hour. Nellie was one of the teachers.
I had longer hair at that point.
And now Nellie's doing all kinds of things. She wears 10 hats, and we're not going to talk about all the 10 hats, but the most important hat that she wears is the hat that around which she's going to be visiting and talking with you today, and that's Family Education Centers. And we're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. Kristen is our enrollment director, and admissions director. And she changes that title based on who she's talking with. Right now, she's the enrollment director, right? And so she's going to talk with you a little bit about some new technology and some new tools that we have on LiftEd that will help you gather with other families. Gathering with families is the most important thing to us. Oh, and April, our project director, she manages every project. That's curriculum and software. And she's been with us for a couple of years. Nellie's been with us for about a year, right? And Kristen has been here for several years. She actually is the admissions director, enrollment director for all three campuses, not just ours, for the AF campus and for the Salt Lake campus. And here's Tim. And I don't know if I told you, Tim's official title is Director of Curriculum and Learning. So anything that has to do with curriculum development and anything that has to do with learning and learning science and learning efficiencies and effectiveness, that's Tim's wheelhouse. Okay, Family Education Centers. I feel like I should stand up now. Where's my paper? It's been a long day. It's been a long week, actually. First off, I just want to ask, raise of hands, how many of you are gathering in any form at any cadence? Raise them high and keep them up there. So Tim alluded to we actually have a statistic, it's 40%, but here it's higher. You can see more than 40% have raised their hands. We build software and we create content. But we don't do those two things to just create software and to just create good curriculum for your families. We do those very intentionally in a way that enables you to gather. Does anybody know one of the techniques that we used in LiftEd to facilitate gathering? What do you think? What's a tool in LiftEd that you've used? Oh, great. That didn't work until just recently. Yeah. The system for finding the other families in your kids' explore groups and discover groups. That was one. The directory, the family directory. Yeah, or the member directory. We're going to take that to another level and we'll show you. Anything else? Oh. Really big one. This is a really big one. So when we organized your groups, We organize them based on their proximity to each other. Yeah, very, very good. And then one more step beyond that. So we organize the groups so they're all together, learning on the platform, and then in their Zoom groups. But what else did we do? Anything else come to mind? Yeah, right here. Yeah, awesome. Oh yeah, we did. We did some gatherings locally with our staff. But Fridays are open, right? So you've got Monday through Thursday. We have a lesson that drops every day, and that's a hint for the last one. But we left Fridays open, and we did that because we just wanted to see what happens if we have instruction dropping on this platform Monday through Thursday, and then we just leave Friday open, and we've organized them by their geography. Will they just naturally figure out that they live close to each other and start getting together? And sure enough, that's happened. Many groups, like yours in St. George, you've been getting together for years. But about half of the families that are gathering now are gathering for the first time with the families that they're gathering with. And that was a really important thing to measure as well. The last thing that we did.
Can I say what it is in a fun way?
Yeah, do it.
Hinman's, wave. So they live half an hour from me. They live in Idaho Falls. We live in Rexburg. We had them over for dinner a couple weeks ago. They walked in our door. Their son appears. What did my son say when your son walked? Now, we've never met this family in person before. What did my son say when he saw your son? It's John! Why would he say that? Do you guys know which videos we're talking about?
The videos in the platform that they leave, the asynchronous videos, right? They're asked a question, they leave a video, then they can watch the videos of the students in their class. Well, Dom loved John's videos.
And they're in the same group that live near each other. So he already knew this before I knew their family. He knew their family.
The last thing is that we drop the lesson at a specific time each day. So we could give you the content. Well, actually, probably couldn't have given it to him too much earlier. We're laying the tracks right before the train gets there this year. But if we had had the content, we still wouldn't have put it on the platform. We would have waited because we want them to go together. And then the first thing that they do is something together. They're in this Kahoot style game together. Now, coming soon this next year, all their cameras will be on. They can come to class, explore 10 minutes early, and all their cameras will be on, just like they walked into a classroom. And they'll be chatting and having this social experience, and there'll be a little countdown, 10-minute countdown that goes down to 0, and it starts the quiz for the day. And lots of other little connection points along the way. Let me tell you a story. I got a story to share with you. When 12 years ago, a little over 12 years ago, it was February of 2011, a friend of mine who was a board member here was meeting with me at a Subway here in Highland, and he was trying to get me to help him start an energy drink business. I was coming away from another previous business, and he knew I was looking for something to do. And I said, Danny, his name's Danny Mason. I said, Danny, that's just too much like what I've been doing. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to build. I want to create something, but I feel like I need to create something that means something, that I can get my heart behind. And he looked at me and he said, Peter, you've got to go down to American Heritage School where my kids go to school. And the minute he said that, the Spirit touched me in a way that I haven't felt that very often in my life. But I knew I was supposed to come here to the school. And I was really excited because I'd actually been praying for a couple of years to know what to do, and fasting. And it was a difficult couple of years. And the next morning, I was just so excited to come to the school and meet Grant and Leland Anderson. And I knew nothing about this school. I knew nothing about what I would be doing, but I knew I was supposed to be here. And I walked down into my front room, and as I was leaving that day, I don't know if Amber remembers this, but Amber was in her rotation of a kind of a preschool, joy school thing that they were doing. And I saw her with the kids from the neighborhood there around her, and the Spirit said to me again, pay attention to this. You're going to help build something like that. And I remember thinking, that's really interesting. I wonder what that thing is. And actually, I got really ambitious when I came here to the school, but it was too early. And then a couple years later, I was doing some branding work for the school. Grant had asked me to do some market research and identify ways to improve our brand here at American Heritage School. And after this branding research, I was getting ready to walk into Grant's office and recommend to him that they drop this thing called the Family Education Center. And if you drive out here to the corner and you read this title monument, it says American Heritage School and Family Education Center. And I asked a lot of people here at this school, what does that mean? Nobody knew what it meant. I asked people in the community, do you know what that means? Nobody knew what it meant. And so it was just cluttering the brand, and it made sense to recommend that we do away with that. I've since learned what that was originally, and Nanette, you know what it was originally, and Jane. And I was getting ready. I was sitting out in my car here in the parking lot, and once again, I had this strong impression that just went from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes that just said, don't you dare do anything with the Family Education Center. And I remember thinking, wow, why is that so important? We have no concept for it right now, and it makes no sense to the community, to our school community, and yet I knew that it was significant. That's what we're going to be talking with you today about. What we learned this year through LiftEd and the years with Family School is that it's not the content that is the most important, although very, very important. And it's not a shiny platform that is important, LiftEd. It's that those things enable gathering. What you really want and what families really need is the ability to connect with each other in person. So, I want to share with you a little video that we put together, and then we're going to move on in this presentation. And Nellie's going to share with you some really exciting progress that we've made in terms of resources and programs that will help support you in gathering. Tim's going to share a few of those as well. And then we've got some tools and incentives of ways to help you build communities in your area. And that's what Kristen's going to be talking about.
The gathering aspect as a parent has been so helpful because there's such a support network and wealth of wisdom from other moms.
Anywhere you go, you have to find community. And once you find it, you have a sense of stability and being okay.
We gathered every week and we had activities planned, and every 6 weeks we would have a bigger activity where we'd invite the dads to do it with us, a dinner and a celebration, and it was beautiful. It just became our community now.
It's nice to have a support system with individuals who are very diverse, but they have the same values that I have.
You have online learning and you have in-person learning and you have homeschool, and we're much more connected now than we were even 10 years ago.
Sometimes coordinating with parents can be a little bit tricky because we're all busy, we all have our own schedules, and sometimes our own ideas of how we want things to run. But I think it's actually really good for the kids to see the parents work together.
People can come early and the kids just be together without any structure, and they love that, and that gives the moms a little bit of time to visit also.
You know who your kids' friends are. You know who your kids' friends' parents are because they're your friends too.
We have explored other co-ops. We haven't joined them, but observed, where it's just more drop-off, and the feeling is different.
Every month, a different family's in charge, and it's been so fun to see the variety that every family brings.
And it's so nice to have these women that are 100% committed and 100% aware of the challenges, and that we can do it together.
You don't have just your mom. You have a bunch of other moms that you can connect with, and they're different teachers from than just your mom. And sometimes you get a little bored of your mom.
The biggest blessing, I think, is the associations that my children have with the other children. Growing up, I was never a very social child, but my children are, and they need connection. They need people to be with.
I love that they come here and can create friendships that entice and inspire them to be better.
It's just really nice to be here and you get to do school in a fun way with friends you love.
I think it is so beautiful that our children have the opportunity to associate with all ages, and they can help the younger kids do what they need to do, and they're comfortable with the younger kids. And my younger children love it, but it's been especially significant to watch my older children appreciate these friends who are like-minded and who are experiencing similar things and similar challenges.
Some of the most important things that my children gain from this are learning at the feet of other Zion women, of other certain women who follow the Spirit and are guided by the Spirit, and can teach and sometimes connect to my child in a way that maybe I struggle with a little bit in that moment. The gifts and strengths that everyone has and the different gospel truths they pull out. Oh, I love it when Sister Hershey teaches. And I said, why? Because she always has a smile on her face. They connect with other moms some ways beautifully.
I have witnessed children who were very uncomfortable talking and sharing become more comfortable and more confident in not only what they're doing, but sharing.
I think one of my favorite things is when I pick them up and they hop in the car and they're just chatting about all the things that happen in class, and then at home they're working on assignments together. And hey, where did you find this answer? Can you help me? And it's just beautiful, and their relationship is so much stronger.
It's a safe space for them to share and hear their friends share and hear their friends pray. And so in a group setting, and it's with a curriculum that ties it all together, and they're like, oh yeah, it's just setting that foundation so the rest of their life they'll see everything through that lens, and they won't be afraid to share in group settings their testimony, because that is the foundation of their education.
I joke with my husband often that we originally joined this co-op for my children's education, but I now feel that we joined the co-op for me. I now have this network of mothers who I am learning so much from. I watch them teach, and it improves my teaching. I see how they parent their children in different situations here. That helps me become a better parent.
The homeschool co-op, that has been where the best relationships in my life have come from, and same with my kids.
So we have friendships as parents as well. I'm friends with all of the moms in our group, and we get together for play dates and other things outside of just our regular gatherings. This is my 8th year homeschooling, and it's just like the cream of the crop. This is the best of the best that I've seen. The content and the quality of the curriculum is just unmatched in what I've seen in different curriculums we've been working with. Family School really hones in on a lot of those different subjects that I can teach my 10-year-old and my 5-year-old. That yes, they're on different learning levels, but they can understand the concepts. They can do science experiments together, and they'll remember different things, but they can be sitting at the table learning together.
You get to learn about Jesus Christ and stuff. Like, you can't do it in public school because they have strict rules. And so it's really nice to be here, and you can talk about Jesus and the Savior and Heavenly Father.
It is just beautiful to hear these gospel truths, and every lesson is ended with the mom sharing their testimony and saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. And children are learning that Christ is the greatest scientist. Christ is the greatest artist. Christ is in all of history.
God qualifies whom he calls. So I would say, do it. Take the plunge. The first few years or the first year, it might feel rocky. That's okay. It's just part of the journey. It will get better.
Maybe starting a group originally is finding people who are interested and starting, but then once you have a core, then it's amazing how people just flock.
Be confident as a parent, create a plan, and then recognize when it needs to modify, and that it's okay. And if it doesn't happen, it's okay.
One of the biggest hindrances to having more gatherings is women feeling afraid to step up and initiate a group, invite, because it's scary.
It's not a place where we feel like we need to put on a show. It's just a place where we can come, where we can be, and we recognize the challenges of what we're doing, but also the benefit of doing it together.
If you feel called upon to make a change in your family about education of your children, whatever that looks like, do it.
You know what I thought was really impressive is your favorite thing wasn't recess.
I mean, it could be my favorite thing, but I might not have said it.
What do you guys want to be when you grow up?
I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to be a teacher, so this has kind of helped me a little bit.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Probably like an engineer.
A teacher and an engineer. This could be a good match. Did anybody say that they like to hear your laugh, Anna?
Yes. Everyone's like, your laugh. I scare my friend all the time, and she's like, I had no clue what it is, but then you start laughing, and I know exactly who it is.
I love that. I love that girl. I was hoping she'd be here today, and I was going to have her come up, and I was going to say, where's Briggs? That was pretty cute. Well, we are serious. We are serious about this idea of helping families gather and to create an semblance of AHS in their area. We want to bring AHS to every community that wants to leverage the tools, the resources, the history, the methods and mission of the school, and we feel like we have a lot to give there. Curriculum and software tools, they're just two pieces of it. And Nellie's gonna share with you some more things that we're gonna be building here soon.
Thank you. Can you hear me through this? Okay, great. I love the last section of that video, the call to action, right? You guys here may be those people who, like Peter said earlier, are trailblazers. You guys are the ones making the path easier for others to follow. Earlier this week in our weekly prayer meeting, I had a colleague share a thought, and I thought, this is perfect to share at the retreat because this is who you guys are. Think of First Nephi, and you have Nephi traveling with his family, with Lehi and all his family in the wilderness, and all along this whole trip, this whole journey they're going on, it says in 1 Nephi 17, it says, the Lord, let's see, if it so be that the children of men keep the commandments of God, he doth nourish them and strengthen them and provide means whereby they can accomplish the thing which he has commanded them. So if you are feeling that pull in your heart to begin to gather, just know that the Lord will uphold you and sustain you. Later on in the same chapter, the Lord calls Nephi to go to a mountain. And on this mountain, the Lord instructs Nephi to build a boat. And Nephi's like, we just got here to Bountiful. It's perfect for us. Okay, you want me to build a boat? Where am I going to go to get the tools? And one key factor that the Lord says to him is he says, you're going to build a boat, but not after the manner of men, after the way I will show you. And then Nephi asks the question, where can I go to get tools? He starts working and he starts going. This is the connection I want to make to you guys. You guys are building a boat. This boat will carry your family, it will carry your community safely across waters, just like it did with Nephi and his brethren. As we connect ourselves with God and look to him, we go to the mountain, we spend time in prayer and in fasting. The Lord will guide us to build something that will meet our children's needs and the needs of our families that are in our community. So I have some tools, we have some tools to share with you today that might help you in building that boat. We have a lovely, some things that are new that are coming out. So on the AHS Worldwide page, we have a landing page for the Family Education Center. And upcoming is a navigation board for group leaders. Now there's some things on here that might be very interesting and very helpful to you as you're putting together your communities and trying to organize logistics. We know that logistics are a pain when you have lots of people gathering. So So up here we have a calendar of classes that are coming up. We have your group leaders listed with their contact information. We have different, family education centers around in your area that you may be a part of for one day and a different group for another day. News includes upcoming field trips and or any items that you have for news. So hopefully this dashboard will help your families stay on the same page and be able to communicate well with each other. Here's the LiftEd dashboard. Here, coming this fall, we're very excited to roll out the member map. And this member map will have the members in your area, and I think we have a more zoomed in one. You can search on this member map. That's what's so neat about it. Up at the top, you can filter your search by how your child interacts with another child. So with the classes they have, the distance apart, what program they're participating in, as well as what level. As you search it, it filters out and will populate the map with that specific search. Another thing on this Family Education Center dashboard is a messaging system. So just like in LiftEd, you can send messages to people within this platform. So it kind of streamlines your messaging. Yeah?
One thing to point out here too is that each dot represents a family.
Okay.
And we're not going to zoom in too closely so they can't see, and we don't share any information. You see, if I click on a pin, it doesn't tell me who that is. We're not sharing any of your personal information on this map. They just know that, oh, this is a LiftEd family, and it looks like they live pretty close to me. I want to get in contact with them because it looks like they also have a level 2 student. And then you can send a message there. When you click send, it texts that to the person, and it just invites them to connect with you.
Yes. Thank you for that. Kristen is going to get up the landing page for us so we can kind of walk through it and we can look at some more resources that will be available. So here we go. Right on the landing page, we have lots of questions that you might have. Jump over to the frequently asked questions, and that will zoom us straight up to the Family Education Center. So if some of these are your questions, maybe pop over here and get some answers. Okay. Yeah, it's for all the programs. They all go to this one page. Okay. Okay, so here we have a mock-up of the member map, which will be coming this fall, and then the FEC leader dashboard is a little bit lower. Yep. Let's see, what else do we want to highlight here? Okay, so 2 guides that I want to point out to you that will be very important are this FEC kickoff event, which you're going to be talking about, right? This is a guide to host and share about your FEC that you're starting. This is the one I'd like to share. It's the group leader quick start guide. So this kind of walks you through what you can think about and what you can plan and prepare for when you're starting your own family education center. So you can that's available for your access there. And then if you want to pop over to the gathering guide. Planning celebrations might be something that might be a little intimidating to you. This guide walks you through, and it's very thorough. And I encourage you to just take what you can use. Don't feel like you have to use everything or do everything. This is a tool for you to use. We want it to work for you, not the other way around, right? So yeah, this is, again, it's very specific. If you've never done one of these before, this is your guide to get you through it. Our last 2 things that I wanted to share with you, I'm going to pass over to Tim for our mentor. There we go. What are we calling it? Mentor
guide.
Perfect. Yep. And celebration packet.
Yeah, so I gave a little,
Yeah. Mhm. That's a fantastic question. Did everyone hear that? Okay, great. Go
So
ahead,
most
Peter.
of that tool, it should have been, we should have included those tools, that dashboard for a family education center leader is really the homepage for that group. And that's where families can come to read more about your family education center, see who the leaders are. They can even apply to your group. They can submit some information. They can follow your group. But these tools, they won't be here this fall. Though that's something coming out when we launch we have an official public worldwide launch in 2024, and much of the FEC tools that we're developing on LiftEd will be available then. This is just really showing you what's forthcoming for family education center leaders. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Scheduling tools, and really just trying to identify what are the tools that would make gathering a little bit easier for families. Sign up sheets for different activities, and then just communication from a leader to their group. Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, no. No, this is your view as an FEC leader. This is just an example of what your view would be and what people in your family education center would see too. If you've followed some other groups because you like those groups and you want to see what they're doing, then that's what was on the side there. It was just kind of a feed, an example of other groups that you're following.
Yeah, so people would be able to see that there is a group somewhere, and they'd be able to say, oh, so-and-so's the leader, and they could message you and ask for more information about your group, but they can't see your whole group page. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. And lots of groups are already doing that. They're just using other tools right now to manage it, and that's what people will keep doing until we have it all in one place. Yeah, absolutely right. So 2 things we're doing. I mentioned one of them earlier, to help families gather. Again, that's our purpose, is help create that lasting local unit. American Heritage Worldwide exists to help people that can't come to American Heritage or don't want the school experience exactly to have the blessings that American Heritage education does offer wherever they live. And part of that is gathering. So 2 tools. One is the mentor guide I talked about earlier. So just very briefly, I can say every course that we create starting this fall with what's going in LiftEd will have a mentor guide companion. It's a PDF that tells you every lesson and gives you ideas as a mentor of how to run in-person live sessions that deepen that. Let me just make a clarifying point there. What we're doing is called a flipped classroom. How many of you know what that term means confidently? You're like, I know what a flipped classroom is. Okay, not that many. Well, what's a normal classroom like? There's 2 parts. You show up and the teacher teaches you the stuff, then you go home and study and practice it on your own. It's called homework, right? That's normal. So flip that. I, by myself, prepare and learn the stuff from a video or readings or whatever, and then I come to be with an in-person group and a mentor who can deepen that learning. So my time with the mentor now isn't them telling me the information. I can get that beforehand. Now it's them doing a Socratic seminar with me, or on and on and on, right? So what we're doing is what they do in LiftEd. If you're doing LiftEd, you see that right now. They go and they do this part in the platform first, explore time, and then they meet with a group. What we're doing is we're improving those group sessions a lot by making them much tighter and more directly related to the curriculum and building on what the kids did in LiftEd during the explore time. And the second thing is we're publishing that to everybody, so that you as parents or your co-op or your group, your family education center, or a local mentor you hire, instead of paying us to do the Zoom time, maybe you take that money with your group and you hire that person who lives over there that's an amazing mentor of youth, and you want them with your kids twice a week, right? And they have the mentor guide. They have that resource so that they can lead the discussions and they can do the activities and they can be that mentor. That's the first, the mentor guide. The second is the celebrations packet. And I think you're probably better able than I am to talk about that because you helped really create them. But how many of you have used some of the celebration guides that go along with the units? We've sent them out. Have you ever done any of the activities that were in them? I'm just curious. Yeah. We have two. The group that meets every Friday at our house, which you saw a picture of a bunch of kids being rowdy. That was my house. And it makes it so much easier because we get these ideas, 7, 10 ideas that go right along with what they've been learning. There's the resources, and it just shortcuts us to being able to come up with some great activities. So we're publishing that for every week so that families have things that they can do without it being a huge drag to plan and prepare every little thing. Of course, you can still plan and prepare whatever you want. We're just trying to give you resources again. Like Grant said earlier, and this is actually the reason I'm here. I've been a teacher and other things, and I learned over time that great education depends on the parents. They're the single biggest factor. Whether you're at public school or private school or homeschool, my mom always used to say, everyone's homeschooled. Some just don't know it. And it's very true. And so our vision and mission at American Heritage is to be an effective resource for parents. And so we're hoping that these celebrations packets, well, not just hoping, we know, we've already gotten the feedback. The celebrations packets and the mentor guides support you in your role of finding the best possible customized version of education locally for your students.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. You guys, like we've said, these tools are here to help you build that tailored ship for your group and your family. And so the things we're providing, we're hoping that they can do that for you. And there's other things, coming down that will hopefully be helpful as you grow and as your community gets bigger and bigger, if that's the way you'd like to go, that we can provide for you. We love to hear your feedback and your ideas. You guys are kind of experts out here, so we love to hear what you guys have to say, and your input really does help us provide these things for other families as well. So please keep that going. Kristen, I think we have a program you'd like to talk about. Are you ready for that? Yeah, do it.
Thank you. All right. Well, now that you know there will be tools and support for family education centers, how do you get it started? How do you kick it off? So I wanted to just review that family education center term. And we saw in the video, people use the word co-op. Nellie acknowledged that gathering's already been happening, right? Family education center, as Peter said, is in our name. American Heritage Schools and Family Education Center. That vision was over 50 years ago, that this would be a resource for families in education. And so I kind of laugh, but as we're talking about this, Nellie quoted scriptures, and I'm going to quote a Marvel movie. But it always comes to mind, I don't remember what movie, but Thor and his people are just bummed out because their home of Asgard just got destroyed, and they're like, what now? And his friend reminded him that their home wasn't a place, it's a people. And that just comes to mind when I think of family education centers, because center denotes a place, right? But we know that it's really in the people that are gathering. And I think we've led up to that, right? It's in this mindset. So I encourage you to reframe it maybe in that mindset. It's this gathering of families unified in priorities and the purpose of educating their children, educating hearts and minds. And families who are utilizing our family, school, and Lift Ed resources. So, okay, well, we know that American Heritage, AHS, worldwide, sometimes we're funny about that. We never say American Heritage School worldwide, we'll say AHS worldwide, but we know that we provide the framework and the resources. But you parents are the CEOs of your children's education. You know what is best. And so that's the other thing I just want us all to kind of keep in mind and acknowledge. I also want to recognize our parents here that have students enrolled at one of our campuses, American Fork or Salt Lake. You have a part in all of this as well as you strengthen our mission. And you help, just being here, right? You're being educated in all of these things that you might have someone come to mind, or relatives elsewhere. They're like, oh my goodness, they would love this, or this would be such a perfect fit. I'm looking at Katie Brown, who's moving away. Her children are enrolled right now, and they were called on a mission and moving away. And this is such a pertinent applicant or appropriate thing for them, right? They'll be able to continue in that way. Okay, well, before I get into kind of the two biggies that we're announcing today, I also want to share and announce that Year 2 LiftEd enrollment is open beginning today. So I know we've been talking around that, but I don't know if it's actually been said. It's open, can enroll. I know April has some laptops out there. We have some QR codes. Are we passing those out? They're behind me. Oh, okay.
They can do that from their dashboard, though, right? They can just go to their LiftEd dashboard, parent dashboard, and enroll for 2023-24.
That's right. If you're already registered, even if you haven't been enrolled before, but you pre-registered, you should be able to do that. Yes? Good question. Registration means you have an account, your children have accounts, right? Enrollment's a little bit different. Enrollment will be you're selecting what offerings you're going to have. So explore time, right, or gather time. And so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, if you've already been part of it this other year, you're in there. You don't have to create anything new, but you do have to re-enroll for Year 2. Okay? Okay. And we'll have some Q&A in just a little bit. Okay. All right. Well, some of you may have heard little rumblings, and I've seen things on the Facebook page about a referral program that we're offering as part of our LiftEd platform. But I just want to make it official. This is our launch of our referral program. And so really, we won't be giving any discounts anymore as AHS Worldwide because you will. You will be able to share your unique referral code or link to those that you are wanting to gather, that you are wanting to build your FEC with. And so what that looks like is for any referee, right? So you're going to share your code, you're the referrer, any referee is going to get 50% off of their Explore Time membership, okay? So why are we doing this? This is really a tool for you as you are wanting to gain traction and motivate and incentivize those who are maybe going, yeah, we're exploring something, I'm not sure what's a good fit, and they know maybe you do some home learning or you're maybe part of something. So this is probably the biggest tool that we can give you, okay? But that's not it. And this is the biggie here. So we love that, and we hope you utilize this to the fullest extent, right? We're trying to build, we're trying to gather, you're able to share these intentionally. For every student referred and enrolled, you get a $35 credit per student on your own account. So $35 credit on your account for every student, not family, for every student enrolled. So you can accrue those and use those to pay for your enrollments or whatever you use in the LiftEd platform. I know we've even talked about having Spiritware through the platform, right? So that's the biggie here that we just want to give as a thank you to you. We are so excited about this. We're turning the corner into Year 2 of LiftEd, and we're right there along with you. So we'll answer some specifics of that in the Q&A, but I do want to show you what that might look like. Thank you. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see. Oh, I see. All right, here we go. Okay, can everyone see that? Okay, so this is what that might look like it will look like on your account, on your refer a friend. So the dashboard's on top, refer a friend there. Do y'all see that? And this is where you'll grab your code or your link. You can share it using social media. You can share just your link. I think that's probably the best utilized for those who are not already, who do not already have a registration. Or just your link that you can just send out. This is yours. And then the coolest thing, I think, is those referrals and the credits at the bottom. You can see, oh, awesome, Michelle, she enrolled 2 students. Now, do y'all see anything on there that's kind of not in line with what I just said? Yeah. Okay, so we're offering the $35 credit through July 1st. We're going to see how that goes with enrollment from now till then, and then we'll see where that backs up to, okay? That was our initial, and we were like, you know what? No, let's just go. Let's bump it up some more. So you'll also see your total credits used, used credit, and credit balance there. Anything, Peter, April, y'all to add to that right now?
Just that every family here is paying less than one of those credits per month for their students. And any family who comes to LiftEd in the future will pay 100%. We'll actually add to the registration system pretty soon a way for them to connect to the member map. And we'll tell them, do you want a discount? Then go use this member map to find somebody in your area that's close to you because they have a code. And so we're actually going to be pointing people to you. This isn't about money for us. It's about giving you a tool to help you to gather with families that are close to you. And we feel like if we stop giving discounts and we only let current members give discounts, that's going to facilitate that kind of connection.
Okay. All right. The second thing, Nellie mentioned this just a little bit, but it's Family Education Center kickoffs. So as you're gathering, and maybe some of these families are already coming to mind right now, we will come to you. So what we're kind of planning and thinking, we've already done a few of these, is if you gather around 15 families who are maybe even interested, or maybe kind of like I said before, you know they're looking for another option, and you're like, oh, you're going to want to hear this. Just come. We'll do all the work for you. We'll come, have a party. We'll have a kickoff. We'll do lunch. We'll give all the information. We'll show things. We'll give materials. And then you can also utilize your referral code at those kickoffs. So on that page that Nellie shared, there's a whole FEC kickoff guide. That's going to be in one of these things we're going to pass out. But you can also access it through that landing page. Okay? Anything y'all to add to that part? Y'all have done them already. Anything?
I'll just say they are super fun events, you guys. Gathering your neighbors and friends just to learn about what you do and what you're building. And then we just kind of come in and give them some information, some history, some background, and have lunch together. It's really a lovely afternoon.
Can I just add one thing there? We're not pushy. So don't worry about that. We're not going to try to close them on a deal or anything like that. We're there to help you. And this is actually something we came up with in response to families who were requesting this. Families were saying, could you guys come and explain to my friends? I try to tell them, and it doesn't make a ton of sense. They don't really get the idea, but if one of you told them, they'd get it. And so we started doing that. We started going out to some people who said, I've got a group of friends, and it was amazing. Even the families who organized it, they were like, oh, I didn't quite get that it worked that way. That's really cool. So it's just a way for us to be, can I even say this? Is this branded by the church? It's for you to have a home-centered, school-supported experience. We're here to support you, right? So if you're trying to explain to it and share it and grow it in your area, then we just want to help you with that.
Yes. Oh. Tim's offering those after this, right? I'm just kidding. He's like, thumbs up. She's asking, can we get one of those right now?
You mean, can we, I don't understand that.
She wants the information session right now.
Oh, the presentation right now. No, we can't. We're really tired.
You have our number, right? Okay.
But you see, there's a number there. We said 15. We don't really know what that number needs to be. If it's someone in Orem, it could be 5 people, and Nellie will go down and do lunch with your group. Or if it's somebody in New York, well, we probably need it to be 15 families so that it makes sense. There's an expense, or even a Zoom. That's right. Yeah. That's right. There's lots of ways to do this.
Yeah, do it virtually, right? ultimately, like Tim said, to take that off of you. We'll come and do that work for you. Did someone have a question? Alex? Exactly. Rosie? That's a good question. Go ahead, April.
They have to pay for an enrollment first.
Yep.
They have to, the very minimum, enroll in Explore Time and make a payment, and then their referral page will unlock. When they create an account before they pay, that referral codes are all blocked out by other texts. So, but once they pay for a single enrollment, then they would have access to that.
Another way of saying that is you can't refer a friend until you are a member. Oh yeah.
You could share yours. They enroll. They could share theirs. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
yep.
good question.
That'll be just a setting that you just toggle off, that you don't want to be included in the member map. Yeah.
Some safety measures in there. Okay. Well, before I turn it back over to Peter and we can open up for some more Q&A, I just wanted to leave you with this vision. We've been so excited to share these things with you. In fact, we've kind of tried to okay, keep it tight-lipped about it. And so now we're wanting to just shout it from the rooftops. So thank you. Thank you for being excited about it and for being here. And, I want us all to see the vision and the big picture of what family education centers can and will be worldwide. We know our children's generation needs to be strengthened and anchored in their education and their experiences and their faith. And it's just kind of mind-blowing thinking that these could be really spotted all over the world in these home learning environments, in these community learning environments, and gathering and being unified in that. Think of the strengthening, the unity and the friendships and the celebrations, all of these things, but ultimately the gathering is the biggest piece. And having that vision and just being so excited about it, we're in that right there with you. So thank y'all to each of you. I'll turn it back over to Peter.
I really don't have too much more to add. I just wanted to know if you have any more questions. Amber is wanting me to share an experience about going out to Palmyra. We met with about 15 families in Palmyra over spring break, and it was a group of Lift Ed families that had just connected on the Facebook page. They actually weren't a group that was meeting consistently in any particular area. There were just several people. In fact, some of the pictures that you saw, some of the B-roll in the video were of that trip, and it was really special to be with those families and see them come together from Kentucky and Florida even, and Virginia and New York and from all over the place. Isn't this a neat thing to see, Jane? I see Jane and Annette. These are the experts, our resident experts in family education centers. And why don't you just come down here, both of you, for just a second, because I think it would be helpful for them to see the two people who came and even presented the idea of having family education centers here at the school many, many years ago. And then if you have any questions, we'd love to answer them. And then we're going to wrap up here. Tim's going to share some closing remarks, and then we'll have a closing prayer. And be on the lookout. I haven't assigned someone for prayer yet. What would you add to that, Jane or Nanette? Nanette and Jane. Okay, well, we can do that too.
You have gone above and beyond.
These are two dear friends of mine. You know, some of you don't know, but these are two dear, dear friends of mine who, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have the family school. And if it wasn't for them, this wouldn't all be happening with Lift Ed, because we've used family school to create Lift Ed. It's a repurposing of the work that they did for many years as something in the basement. What was it that you'd say you were? The monks in the basement. They've been out of the basement for a long time. They finished writing family school back in 2018. That was the last year.
The very last lessons. But I do have a question. What if people are just using the family school? Can they still gather?
In fact, this video, more of the people that, that's right, and you notice that they were talking about family school. Gathering around a curriculum or a philosophy is not new. You can gather around anything. Just pick a curriculum, you can gather around it. The point is we're trying to create tools within the resources that we're providing that enable them to gather easier so that they don't have to do the work. That's a good question. So same kind of thing. We'll do the exact same thing. We won't give discounts for family school. We'll build the same kind of referral. In fact, you used to have it. Does anybody remember the referral system in family school? And when we switched to the new system, we didn't carry it over, but we'll do the same thing in family school. Jane and Annette, don't let us forget family school. You know, that is, when we said this last year when we launched Lift Ed, that the gold standard for teaching in the home really is what you were just watching in that video. It is mothers and fathers, but more often than not mothers, right, that are gathering with their children, and many times multiple children of various ages, teaching them. Lift Ed is a step to family school. In fact, this group up here, many of them are going away from Lift Ed and back to family school because they miss it. They miss that kind of interaction with their kids. And we love that. We don't look at that as churn or attrition, which is a word that you use when someone does something bad in business, right? They go away from you. And we don't think that that's bad regardless of where they go. We're here to support. We're one tool. We're not the tool for everyone, and we've always acknowledged that. Jane and Annette had a group of 4 or 5 families that they met with for 10 years, or more than 10 years, or 25, okay. And Jane and Annette taught geography, and a different mother taught the next day. They'd go to a different house, and another mother would teach history, and another mother would teach science, and another mother would teach art and music and literature, and they would just rotate. And they did this for decades. And they came to the school in 2012 to help us build the family school. They were the ones that had been doing it for decades and been doing it the way that we would do it here, using the same methods that the school uses. That was a miracle. That was one of the many miracles of the family school, is that these two people had been implementing the principal approach in a home for a decade or more before they came and helped us do it here. Thank goodness. Yeah, they don't have much sympathy for you, just so you know. I heard it all the time. What? They need that? Why do they think they need that, Peter?
You want it shorter and shorter and shorter. We wrote it for the geography, and then we edited all the other lessons. There were developed with amazing teachers and others who wrote the science, music, and art.
Karen Arneson alone wrote literature and history. Her daughter's here. Where is she? Karen. She was here. Karen's daughter. What advice would you give these mothers who want to gather?
I was watching that. It just totally, it made me want to cry, because what we had in our little gathering of mothers, and some of the mothers came and went, we did it by ourselves for a long time, and we gathered, Jane and I gathered with our own kids on Fridays. And then people started contacting us and saying, we want to homeschool our kids, but we're scared. So could we join with you? And so the way it worked best was to have maybe like 5 moms. And we traded off houses. And the thing I felt, I love this video. That's my favorite video you've ever made, because you got that feeling of Zion. And that's what we had in our school. We had a feeling of Zion. And we had this relationship between the younger children and the older children that you can't buy any place on this earth, where those little kids just looked up to those big kids and played with them at recess. And you know, it has to be prayerful. There's a lot of people who try to get together and do this kind of thing, and they pick away at each other's teaching, and I would just say it has to be a really Christ-like, accepting environment, because you don't want to feel judged as a mother that somebody's a better teacher than you or a better celebration planner than you. And the other thing I was saying to Mandy, my daughter up there, I thought if people were doing just the family school, there's enough enrichment stuff and celebration stuff just in those lessons to carry a once-a-month gathering or a once-a-week gathering for a long time. And I think in St. George, Marin, there are just family school people who have been joining with your Lift Ed celebrations, right? They come.
Probably be a different color for a family school gathering around family school versus Lift Ed. And there'll be a way for families to say who are part of a specific curriculum. I'm going to find a family school who's meeting regularly and gathering around Lift Ed. Will the tool be functional and allow for families to gather around family school and Lift Ed together? Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. It just depends on how they gather. If they gather to do a daily discussion around content that they're learning each day, then they wouldn't be able to, right? Because family school is a different scope and sequence than Lift Ed. But if they're just gathering for celebrations, yeah.
So if you saw that there was a Lift Ed celebration on Little Women, which I don't know what it is, but then a family school could say, hey, let's read it and go to their celebration.
The vision is that one day we'll have thousands of little family education center groups all over the place. And as those grow, you'll have multiple groups getting together to have larger celebrations with larger groups, kind of like what you're doing in St. George already. When 2 groups get together, we call that a branch. It's a family education center branch then. And you can read all about this. If you want to go on the family school or the family education center landing page where we were at, if you just go to programs at the top of the AHS Worldwide website, there's a new family education center landing page, and you can read all about this. And you can read the Kickstart guides,